Hey everybody, Xeno here, and talk about a surprise. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I don't think anyone really saw this coming, but it's such a welcome surprise. It's such a good looking game. And today we're just going to take a quick look at the trailer, do a real-time analysis, see exactly what little details we can pull out. I do have some more in-depth content planned on this game that is going to be coming whenever I can get it done, because it's going to be scripted and take longer. But I just want to get on an analysis real quick because I know everybody else is going to be doing it too. So I wanted to try to do mine quick, so that's why it's real time. But anyway, just saying, you can expect other more scripted, cool content for this too. But right now, we're just going to do like a little unscripted look at what I found and what is interesting about this trailer. Because there are some cool little details and things that don't really have an answer yet too, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this all plays out, the Calamity and the war in just 100 years ago, because we have details but we don't have them all. So let's take a look at the trailer and see exactly what we can find. So as we open it up, we're going to get the history of the royal family of Hyrule, is also the history of Calamity Ganon, as we see Calamity Ganon from the first game, the exact same tapestry and all that. And we also see the Guardians down here as well. I mean, this is basically the same exact art we've already seen. But as we go on, we see another familiar scene that's not quite as familiar as you might think at first, because you might think, oh, I've seen this cutscene in Breath of the Wild, because it is very similar. There's Guardians on the rooftops, shooting everything, fire everywhere. But this is a different angle. This is a totally new cutscene from the one seen in Breath of the Wild. As you can see, there's a ton of Guardians, fire everywhere. Even the flying Guardians, I can't remember the exact name, but yes, those are there as well. Here we see just Hyrule Castle in ruin, right? Malice everywhere. It's not looking too good. It's just really not looking too good. But then we get this great effect. It's like bats flying away or something. We see the castle current day, I mean, for Age of Calamity current day, and it looks like really good. Like, I mean, you still see the two gatehouses here. There's the sanctum up here. There's the front entrance. Everything seems to be in order. Looks just like it did in Breath of the Wild. So they're doing a really good job of just capturing the essence of Breath of the Wild in this game. I really have to hand it to Koei Tecmo for that, because even as we get into like the cutscenes here and see those, just like they look just like Breath of the Wild. It's the same exact art style they are using, and it's just really great. Okay, so here we see Link for the first time, and he is in an interesting outfit. So he is in the Hylian Knight outfit, which you might think, okay, maybe cosmetic, maybe something like that. But no, I think this is very integral to the story, because I think for half of this game, we might see Link before he was a champion, and then we're going to just get to see how he becomes a champion in this game, because as you see throughout the trailer, he flip-flops. He's in the champion tunic here, he's in the Hylian armor here, even in the official art that they posted for the game, he is in the Hylian Knight tunic. So I think that is going to be a big part of this game, exactly how he becomes the appointed knight and the hero of Hyrule and all that. Also, as you can see here, there are soldiers behind him. There's one here, and one here, and then there is his sword that he's holding up. Guessing it's just a knight broadsword. And it's interesting because I think this might tie into a scene we see here in a second as well. So here we see Zelda walking through a dimly lit hallway out into the sun. So what exactly is happening here? Well, she could just be walking out of the castle. She could be walking out of the castle to an event, or she could be walking out of the castle to witness the war that is about to happen in this very next scene. So there's a lot of potential to what she could be doing here. She's also in her royal garb here, so that is the thing that is happening here. So yeah. And as she walks out, we transition to this scene, which few things about it. First of all, as you can see, this is where the first memory in Breath of the Wild was. I think it's the first memory. It's the ceremony, the one where Link is appointed the champion, and the others are as well. But it's interesting because you know, remember that Link scene we saw a second ago? I think that might be directly before this battle we're about to see, because, I mean, Link is holding up his sword. There's 3 knights behind him. We see a lot of knights here. But then, as we go on through the scene, kabam, kablooey, bokoblins flying, terrible, terrible warfare. I love that scene right there. Look, notice how he is not only throwing back the soldiers, but also the bokoblins, just true to Breath of the Wild. But see, Link is leading the charge here, which is why I think it might also connect to that other scene, because in that scene, Link is in the front holding his sword up. I think he is leading the charge in this battle. So that's just a connection that I think might be there. I'm not 100% sure on that. I mean, it's speculation there, but that's what I see. Also, going back to the Zelda scene, she could be looking out to this battle. That could be why she's going outside and making sure everybody's okay, watching the battle. I don't know. That's my best guess right now. I'm trying to connect these scenes together because they do look similar. So there might be some connection there. I love that way too much. And another thing we need to take a look at here is, well, lots of enemies on the field. That is a Dynasty Warriors thing. So yes, that is not too out of the ordinary. It is out of the ordinary kind of just how big this arena is. I mean, if we go back, you see some areas like this in Hyrule Warriors and other Dynasty Warriors games, but I'm guessing this hill here is like a cutoff to the level, because I don't think this is going to be an open world game. I think this is going to be a game with set borders. You're going to have a lot of different maps going to different areas of Hyrule, but I do think this is going to be a Dynasty Warriors game, not a open world Dynasty Warriors game, as cool as that would be. Also, just like these different structures in the background here are interesting because they weren't there in Breath of the Wild. Because of course, that's the ruined Hyrule. There's not a lot left. But as we can see, we know where these structures are, because that is the area right there. The place where they did the ceremony. And back here we have like some kind of tower. There's like a barracks area over here, flags, and then just like whole structures that aren't there in Breath of the Wild. So it's interesting to see just how much they're going to populate Hyrule compared to Breath of the Wild and make it like that. So yeah, of course, the moblin is roaring, getting all mad and all that, and yeah, that's about the end of the scene. There's trees as well, bushes, the grass. It looks like Breath of the Wild. Just that's what I'm trying to say, I think. So here's our next scene here. We have Zelda and Mifa together looking at the Sheikah Slate. Not much to take away from this, just that there's going to be moments between Zelda and Mifa in this new game, which, I mean, I think most of us could have told. I wonder what they're looking at on the Sheikah Slate. We can't really tell, but it's something. This one is interesting, though, because as you can see here, there's a figure emerging from the fog over there, and Link is about to slash at them. Who will it be? Will it be a Moblin? Will it be a Bokoblin? Will it be a Lizalfos? No, it's Revali. And it took me a while with this scene here, because the first two times I watched the trailer, I was like, okay, are these two working together to fight someone? But no, you look at the trailer, Link is swinging at where Revali was. This is a duel, and Revali is trying to take a headshot there, so we know he will not succeed in that headshot, because, I mean, there is a sequel to this game. I mean, it's interesting how I say it's a sequel, even though it came out like 3 years ago, but you know, it's a game that takes place before the other game. It's a prequel, and yeah, so we know how this duel is going to end, but it's just interesting, and it makes so much sense too, because Revali and Link, they're always at it. In one of the memories, he even challenges him to a duel, so I mean, it makes sense. I'm so excited to see this scene play out. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am a huge Revali fan. I'm looking at the Revali amiibo on my desk right now and thinking, heck yeah, I can't wait to see Birdman get back at it again. It's gonna be great. I'm sure Sean Chiplock will return as Revali, because he's just so good at that. But yeah, anyway, enough Revali talk. On to the next scene. We have the invasion going on here. I'm guessing this is a scene just prior to that battle we saw earlier. You can see the same walls over here in the barracks. So basically it just seems there was a big wall. Well, actually, no. I just realized this, because that over there is the place where they did the thing, the ceremony. The ceremony happened right over there. This is the wall to Castletown. So it seems they might have won this battle if they are advancing that way. Or maybe this is still right before the battle, and our heroes are going to emerge from over there, but it doesn't make much sense, because we know that they have barracks and places over here as well. We do see the cannons over here. There's probably something going on for them that way as well. It might just be like an ambush. I don't know. But that is interesting because I was under the assumption that this was the outer wall we saw in the other shot, and then this would be inside that wall. But no, that is Castletown right there. So yeah, it's interesting. You learn something every time you look at this trailer. But yeah, so here we have another interesting scene because Link is fighting blue bokoblins, which does seem to suggest some kind of progression system to how difficult enemies are. It could be that there actually are different variants of enemies that run around like this and they are of different challenge. It could also just be that as you go through the game, the color of the bokoblins you fight will change as, you know, you're fighting stronger enemies. I'm not sure which one I want to believe in there, but I'm probably going to guess that there are different varieties of bokoblins that are harder to take down and not just the progression throughout the game idea. That's just me though. So it is interesting though that Link is using a remote bomb in this scene here, as you can see. I kind of backed it up a little too much, but he's using a remote bomb, which doesn't really make sense in the context of Age of Calamity because Zelda has the Sheikah Slate. So the fact that he's able to use remote bombs, I mean, also nobody knows about the runes at this point. They haven't discovered those. So I'm guessing this is just something they kind of throwed in for gameplay. In Hyrule Warriors, anybody was able to use any of the Zelda items that you found. So I'm guessing this is just a very similar thing to that because even though it doesn't really make sense in the context of the story and them being able to use runes, it is their items basically in this game. So I think that is what we will see here. Also, you see a little enemy outpost already. So those are still, like, those exist in some places even back 100 years ago, which is interesting, you know? Because you would have thought they built those over the 100-year period and not just had them there the whole time. But it does seem, I just noticed that, it does seem that, like, Link might blow up the entire, no, he doesn't, just the bokoblins around him. I was like, for a second there, did he blow up the entire structure there? But no, he's just blowing up the bokoblins. So, onto this scene, King Rome, all the soldiers. That's a really cool scene. Not much more to say about it, just there are a lot of soldiers here. None of them are distinct enough to say they're special characters. I mean, you can see the captains, but that's it. We see the same banner here that is in Breath of the Wild. That's the exact same banner. King Rome doing his thing, being all cool, you know. Anyway, next scene. Here we have what seems to be the emergence of the Calamity, and it's the Calamity. You have the malice swirls, purple lightning, the trees, you know, the trees, that's a good sign of the Calamity. And as we go forward, we see Zelda looking on at it. I'm guessing she's looking on at it. It's not just a spliced together clip. It makes sense that this is there. But here's a thing that I really am happy they showed, because we've known this forever, but it's just like, didn't know exactly how. So the Guardians do originate from these pillars around Hyrule Castle, but we had no idea how the heck they came out. So basically they just phased through the circles in the architecture here and just like fall to the ground and start committing terrible acts and being pretty bad dudes once they are hit by that malice, you know. Also King Rome here in the Sanctum, of course. You can see by the nice Triforce and stuff going on up here. So yeah, that is the King Rome in his Sanctum area. He has his throne back here, all sparkly, the different banners we talked about earlier. You have the candles, everything seems in order. Then you get down here, and this is a really interesting part. Okay, so let me pull up my magnifying glass here, because that's the wrong button. Because there is a few interesting details we need to take a look at here. Here we go. Okay, so we have Zelda here, of course, and she is in her regular out and about outfit, so I'm guessing they just came back to see Rome. Link is here in his knight armor again, which, as I said, he flip-flops between that. I think that's going to be a big part of the story, finding out exactly how he becomes a champion and why he's so special as a knight. And then we have this character here, which is a Sheikah. And there is only one Sheikah that I can think of that would be with Link and Zelda at this point in time in the past, which is Impa, a young Impa, because this is 100 years before we see her in Breath of the Wild, which is really, really interesting. And it also introduces the idea of, hey, are we going to see young versions of Robbie and Puya, I believe it is? Not Paya, it's
Pura.
Something like that. The other scientist. Are we going to see young versions of them as well, and all these different old elder Sheikah people? because that would be really interesting. It also brings up the question, hey, are we going to see like characters that we didn't even get to see in the original Breath of the Wild that we were told about 100 years ago? That's just something I'm really excited to see in this game. Also, if you take a quick look right by the feet of Zelda there, you can see what I'm pretty darn sure is that guardian that you see on the box art for this game. So this thing seems to be some kind of companion to the main party in this game, and I'm guessing it's going to be basically Zelda's pet and just companion because she's really big into guardians and all that. And this guy's just a little cute robot dude. It's just so terrible that we know how the story's gonna end. And I'm already sad just thinking about the possibilities of how this little guy's gonna go down. And I think I can just stop talking about it there because it's just too depressing, you know? Anyway, let's get on to the next scene, which is cannons and stuff, because they really like to use cannons in Hyrule. That's literally all that shot is, so I think we're good there. This shot, though, is interesting because we have the emergence of stall variants of enemies, and we don't get a lot of, like, background details to tell us where and what exactly is going on here, but we do see planks here. We see what might be a flagpole there. As the scene goes on, we can pivot over here and see another outward, just, like, stick. Right, let me... It's going to be, like, very close. Okay, so in the background there, you also see what seems to be a burnt down house, and then over here we see a burnt tree, or at least a tree without leaves, which leads me to believe that this is a village or some area that has just been ransacked by Calamity Ganon's forces, and now we even have the stall guys emerging from the ground, so that's not good either. I think this might also take place after Calamity Ganon has arisen, because just like this amount of destruction is not seen anywhere else in the trailer besides like after Calamity Ganon has risen. So like it could theoretically still be before, but I'm leaning towards the idea that it's after. So anyway, Lynels, you guys know those are like yeah, those are guys. They're really fun enemies and really hard enemies to take down, but this right here seems to be a cutscene introduction to them. I think this might be the first time we ever see a Lynel, and it's at, you can guess it, Zora's Domain, which is also the first place you are really introduced to Lynels in the story if you're going just by the story, because you go to get the shock arrows and all that. But it's interesting. So we have that introduction cutscene, but then we also see our first clip of gameplay here where Zelda is using the stasis rune to basically stop him and then probably wail on him afterwards. And as I did say, this is in Zora's Domain. You can see the architecture right there. It's like right outside of it. And that's about all I have for this scene. It's stasis, cool. Lynel, cool. Zora's Domain, cool as well. Zelda's also cool, and she's using the Sheikah Slate to fight, which is just works so well, you know? So in this next scene, we see a Guardian, a Mifa, and a Death Mountain. All three of them, and a special move. I'm pretty darn sure this is a special move because, as you can see by the all-out animation, that's the kind of stuff you see in a special move in the Dynasty Warriors games. Also, you can see here what are gates, which makes me assume that that area right there is some kind of keep. I mean, it might just be gates, though, I don't know, because in Hyrule Warriors, in most Musou games and Dynasty Warriors games, you have different areas throughout the map which are keeps, and that's one of the main gameplay elements. You want to take as many keeps as you can to turn the tide of battle and get more reinforcements on your side and less on the enemy side. So this might just be a gate, it might be a keep, I'm pretty darn sure. Either way, keeps are going to be in this game, so I just wanted to point that out. And also, right in the eye, geez. Good one, Mifa. So this scene is in Gerudo Town, and there's a lot going on here that we need to break down. So first of all, we have Yiga soldiers. We also have just a citizen of Gerudo Town just standing here watching the chaos. And, as you'll see here, Urbosa, who is also playable. Mifa and Zelda are also playable, but I didn't really mention that. Also, Dad Yiga, just sitting on the floor. I mean, laying on the floor. He's dead, he can't sit, yeah. We see the regular Yiga soldiers here, and then we see the more powerful Yiga Blade Master, which I'm guessing is going to be a commander in this game, which in Dynasty Warriors, those enemies usually have a bit more health and take longer to take down, whereas the other guys usually take only a few hits. It is really fun to see just this many Yiga together, though, because you always get the sense that the Yiga are kind of a joke in Breath of the Wild, but it is something that I think might be expanded upon in this game, that they are more of a threat than you might think. In the memory we see in Breath of the Wild, the Yiga seem to be a bit more confident in their ability to take out Zelda and just better overall assassins, because they almost get to her if Link weren't there. So I think in this game we will see a more confident version of the Yiga clan with a different leader, because Koga is, I'm guessing, not born at this point. So that's something we'll get back to here in a bit with a personal theory of my own. But yeah. So we see Urbosa dodging out of the way as time slows here, which is also another mechanic you might remember from Breath of the Wild. I'm talking about Flurry Rush, which I think might be coming back in this game as well. So Hyrule Warriors wasn't really big on taking actual elements of Zelda and putting them into the game. I mean, it was a bunch of fan service and stuff, sure, but it was still a Dynasty Warriors game. Here they seem to be taking more of the actual ideas of Breath of the Wild and implementing them into the gameplay, which is really fresh and cool to see. Also, I am just noticing now that this was not just an innocent bystander. She does have a knife and is about to take out that guy there. So yes, we seem to have Hylian soldiers and Gerudo soldiers here. So we have two different forces at play. And we can see what I'm guessing is going to be a keep over there. This might be a keep in of itself right here. And yeah. All right, next scene. Oh, I forgot one more thing. On Urbosa, as you can see here, she has a lightning elemental on her weapon, which I can't remember. Is that a thing on her champion weapon in Breath of the Wild? I don't know, but she has it here, which makes sense for her, just because of Urbosa's fury and all that. So, this scene here, I believe, takes place right before they approach Calamity Ganon for the first time. So my evidence for that is, well, first of all the champions are together. It is interesting how Zelda's not there. That is the one thing that I'm still trying to figure out. I don't know why she's not there. But all the champions are together. And the lighting here. So Calamity Ganon emerges at dusk, basically. Like at the end of the day, the evening, he emerges at evening. And the lighting here is perfectly matched to that. So I think this is them all getting ready to confront Calamity Ganon. It might even be right after the cutscene we see in Breath of the Wild, where all the team is together and they first see Calamity Ganon emerge from below the castle. Only thing is, I don't know why Zelda's not there, but I'm pretty darn sure that's what this right here is, as Revali walks forward. Also, here we see our first look at a divine beast, which is Vah Rudania. Notice how it is a blue light, so he is still under the control of Daruk. I'm not sure if this is towards the end of the game, where you're going to see Calamity Ganon emerging and taking control of Vah Rudania, because it does look kind of similar to that cutscene in Breath of the Wild. That might be what this is as well. I'm also really curious. You see like this little skull head down there. I have no idea what that is, but it's there and it's bothering me that I don't know. And I think that's about all I can say for this scene. You can see the fire on his legs, so I'm guessing he might actually be in Death Mountain, if not just had crawled out of it. But yeah, also the detail up here, spectacular. Love to see it. All right, here's a cool scene. So we see enemies invading what seems to be Zora's domain. I mean, there are Zora soldiers here as well. And what happens next is just so hilarious to me. The Bokoblin just bonks that guy. And I don't know why I found that so hilarious, but I'm just like, yes, that's the kind of stuff I like to see. Just Bokoblins bonking people. Also, this guy seems to be bringing down the hammer as well. So, oh, geez, yeah, that could have killed somebody. Oh my gosh. I see why they rated this game teen now. Okay, so here we have Daruk performing a special move on the first boss I believe we see, which is a Hinox. We see a dead guardian here as well. It's also interesting the place that this event is taking place in, because if you look back a little bit, you can see bridges over here and large structures. I believe this is Akala Citadel that we are looking at here, because as you can see here, the rocks line up. This is Akala-like structures. You see the autumn leaves over here. This is Akala Citadel. I don't know why Daruk would be here, though, because the only battle I can think of that would take place at Akala Citadel is the Last Stand, which we know about. That was like one of the last battles of the war. So Daruk wouldn't be there. So I'm guessing there is going to be another battle at Akala Citadel, because that's the only way this would work. Also, I love how Daruk just clenches his fist as this guy blows up. Also, over here, we see another structure gate. So I'm not sure exactly where that's going to lead. It seems like some kind of inner barracks area. But yeah, it might just be another keep, because we need to think about that. That's part of why all these structures have appeared in Breath of the Wild that we haven't seen before. In this world of Breath of the Wild, we haven't seen before, because they need keeps, which I believe this area right here is also a keep. You can see the door right there. Walled off structures. Just seems to be right. We also see black bokoblins here for the first time. As I said earlier, there were blue ones, and then we've seen red ones before, so we do see a lot of the variants. We haven't seen silver yet, but most of them are here. And Revali just using his arrow move, which does confirm with Daruk, Mifa, Urbosa, and Revali now, all of the champions are going to be playable, which is super awesome. I can't wait to play as them, especially my man Revali, you know? So yeah, he's just using bomb arrows to decimate these guys. And here is the scene that I have a theory about. So in this scene, we see Link fighting someone with a electrical elemental blade type thing going on here. So I don't know who this could be. At least I didn't know who this could be. I've had a few ideas. So it could be a duel with Urbosa, because we did see one with Revali, but I just don't know if that makes as much sense. I mean, sure, the champions could be dueling each other to just practice and stuff like that, but I don't know, because I feel like Revali's the only one that actually would duel one of his fellow champions. I don't feel like the other champions would be too on board with having to fight one another. I don't know, though. Maybe Link and Urbosa would, because they're both fierce warriors. So maybe that is it. But I'm thinking not. I think this might be something totally different. And you want to know what I think this might be? I think this might be a brand new character. And you know who I think that brand new character might be? I think it might be the current day leader of the Yiga. And by current day, I mean the old leader of the Yiga. But as we see in Breath of the Wild, Master Koga is the leader. I talked a little bit about this earlier, but it's kind of a joke. He's kind of a joke. He's just there to do that. So who is the leader in this game? Because we've seen the Yiga there going to be in this game. I have a feeling they're going to show some type of leader, and I want to know who that is. And this blade I do not recognize whatsoever is my best guess as to who that person might be. So I'm just putting forth a theory. I think there will be a new leader of the Yiga in this game, and this might just be that person. So if I am right about this, and it does come to fruition, you need to come back here and give me a pat on the back and say, "Yo, Xeno, you were totally on the nail with this," because I'm kind of reaching a bit on this, I think. But who knows? Maybe it'll pay off. Anyway, Link fighting against that guy. He is struggling, it seems, actually, as the blade comes down towards Link. As you can kind of see, he is struggling there. But going onward here, we see Urbosa fall. Mifa kind of just like fall back with a scared look on her face, and Daruk just being clobbered, and Revali shot out of the sky. So what does this all mean? I'm pretty darn sure this is the champion's deaths right here. Like, we are going to see that, at least in a cutscene. And it makes me think, is it just going to be a cutscene? Are we going to have some kind of playable element to this where we fight a battle we cannot win against a Blight? Or maybe we even fight as a Blight and kill the champion? I mean, I don't know. I feel it's probably just going to be a cutscene, but man, that would be lame. I kind of want to see one of the other two, just because that would be so interesting, you know? Even the fact that they're just showing this, though, I am very happy to see that, just because it is a tragic ending, and you need to hammer home on that, because what happens at the end of this game is going to be tragic. And that's just really interesting to me. And I like when Zelda does stuff like that, and, you know, it just gets a bit darker with it all, you know? So here we see an explosion at the gate of Castletown. We don't really see what is exploding. We can't at all. Like, even if you go to the first frame of this, you cannot see. You can see that Castletown still seems to be intact over here, but I don't think it will be for long, because based on the lighting here, and based on, if I can show it correctly, oh geez, Here it is. So based on Zelda's dress, she's in the ceremonial dress. I think this is right after they approach Calamity Ganon for the first time. If not, right before they approach Calamity Ganon for the first time. Because if you remember, Zelda and Link went to the castle together to take on Ganon, but they failed. And they retreated back, and that's where the memory in the forest where Zelda talks about how she has failed everyone is. So I think this is right before either confronting Calamity Ganon or right before fleeing the castle and seeing that memory. Which just goes to show you again, they are going to show the terrible tragedy that is the end of this game, and it's so interesting to me. But yeah, and as you see here as well, this is a terrible tragedy right here. We see the malice surrounding the castle, the pillars up in the sky. This is the Hyrule Castle we see in Breath of the Wild. Like, this is it. That's exactly what we see. And up at the top is the blood moon that rises once again for Calamity Ganon. And we are told Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And that is the trailer, my friends. That is everything I could find in it, just looking through it a few times and all that. Of course, we see this final scene here where Zelda is holding back Calamity Ganon at the very end of this game, I assume, which then leads into Breath of the Wild. So yeah, that is the trailer, and it's a really interesting one. So there is one more thing to look at here, which is the key art, and I am going to pull up a better version of this so we can look at it, just a full version, because there are a few things to take out of this as well, but overall we've seen most of it. So as we pull up the key art here to take a final look at it, we have, of course, Link, Zelda, little robot guy I talked about here, all the champions, and all kinds of stuff happening in the background. We have, of course, an army of guardians over here, just like a lot of guardians. That's a lot of guardians over there. Over here we see the hordes of moblins, bokoblins. There are Lizalfos. I was gonna say, are there Lizalfos? Because we didn't see any in the trailer, I don't think. And of course, the big giant Hinox. Back here we see Calamity Ganon around the castle. There is the entrance to Castletown, and we can't really make out much of Castletown. We do see more guardians over here, though. Vanaboris is on here for some reason. I'm not exactly sure. We also see a very strange structure shooting two lights up into the sky. I'm not sure exactly what that is about, but that is very interesting that they included that, whatever it is. Also, lots of sky guardians. I can't remember the name of them, so I'm just going to call them that. And destroyed field over here, which will allude to what is going to happen to Hyrule. And I think that is about all we have to take away from what we have of this game right now. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And my golly, am I excited for this game. It looks so good, and I'm really excited for it. I hope you guys are as well. If you enjoyed the video and thought I provided some good insight into what the game might be like, make sure you stick around, subscribe. As I said, we're doing some more content on the game. I'm super excited about it. Just gonna keep covering it until it comes out, and then maybe we'll even do stuff when it comes out. But anyway, it's a story for another day right now. But yeah, subscribe, like the video if you liked it. Leave me a comment down below what you're most excited to see in this game. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today. I will see you guys soon with more Zelda stuff and other stuff as well. Have a great day, and I will see you soon. But I already said that. So yeah, have a good one. Bye.